We've just watched one team, the Dodgers, sign Kyle Tucker for an earth-shattering $60 million a year, forcing the rest of baseball to clutch their wallets and scream, "salary cap." But here is the question nobody dares to ask. What if competitive balance isn't the real goal? And what if crippling the Dodgers with artificial restrictions actually makes every other team worse by removing the vital pressure to try?
If the villain is necessary for the hero to rise, are we truly ready to kill the only one who cares enough to play the game on the hardest difficulty? If the sound of record-breaking contracts and looming labor stoppages keeps you up at night, then welcome back to 617 News, where we tackle the uncomfortable truths hiding behind the box scores. The news that Kyle Tucker, a potential Hall of Famer, is joining the behemoth in Los Angeles feels like the final spike driven into the coffin of competitive parity, triggering more salary cap discourse than at any point since the last lockout threat. I want to be perfectly clear. I am intrinsically against a hard salary cap in baseball. This is the last major North American sport that still allows true market dynamics to dictate player value, and that openness benefits the players, the spectacle, and ultimately the entire economic ecosystem of the sport. Imposing a hard limit, a definitive line in the sand where a team must stop spending, punishes ambition, and frankly, baseball needs more ambition, not less.
But, and this is the crucial distinction, I absolutely understand why fans are demanding one, because the circumstances that have necessitated this conversation, the blatant, systematic refusal of owners to invest, are rotten to the core. We are approaching the 2027 labor negotiation, and the stakes could not be higher, all while the Dodgers gleefully break the bank, forcing everyone to confront a fundamental sickness in the sport.
The common refrain you hear from the low-spending critics is, "We just can't compete." They argue that a team with a $300 million payroll gap means the season is over before the first pitch. This is the moment we need sharp argumentation, because that argument is a beautifully crafted lie designed to deflect blame. Many people assume small market owners are incapable of competing, that they simply lack the regional revenue stream to keep pace. I believe, however, that for the overwhelming majority, they are merely incompetent, or perhaps willfully unwilling. They are hiding behind the success of the Dodgers as an excuse for their own self-imposed stagnation. Consider this. While the Dodgers are pushing toward a theoretical $350 million payroll ceiling, there are at least 6 teams routinely operating below the $100 million mark. This isn't parity. This is professional negligence. I'll give credit where it's due. I have nothing but admiration for the Dodgers' willingness to try. They look at the 162-game grind and the single-elimination poker game of the playoffs and say, "We want the best hand possible every single year." To strip that prerogative away would damage the competitive fire we claim to adore. Look at the Texas Rangers. They weren't annual spenders, but they opened the coffers, focused their investment, and secured a World Series trophy. It proves that aggressive, focused spending can yield results, even if you're not the Yankees or the Dodgers. The true emotional core of this debate, the reason fans feel so betrayed, is that desolate, burning emptiness when opening day feels less like a beginning and more like the end of hope. Being a fan of a baseball team that refuses to try is a unique kind of pain, knowing your owner is prioritizing margin growth over championship aspirations. As Mr. Jeffrey L. of the imaginary Cleveland Guardians franchise might lament, "We simply cannot compete with the sheer force of LA's market capitalization. The game is rigged against the little guy, and we must protect the economic integrity of the sport." But listen to that carefully. They are not talking about winning. They're talking about protecting their existing comfortable profit margins. To which President X in Chavez Ravine might reasonably retort, "You aren't protecting anything. You are harvesting profits. We are driving massive national revenue that you refuse to participate in, yet you claim an equal cut. It's a skill issue, kid, not a market issue." This brings us to the crux of the conflict, the scenario that will define the 2027 labor negotiations, the salary floor. While a hard cap limits ambition at the top, a hard floor demands minimum competence at the bottom. I subscribe completely to the theory of a mandatory spending floor. Imagine the players' union demands a minimum team payroll of $150 million, coupled with a higher minimum player salary. This simultaneously lifts the bottom of the talent market and forces cheap owners to put a decent product on the field. The current system, the competitive balance tax, is too weak. It's a speed bump for the rich, not a brick wall. The Dodgers look at paying a 50% tax penalty and just see the cost of doing business. But the moment we enforce a floor, the narrative shifts and the cheap owners lose their shield. We are seeing cases right now where the players' union is filing grievances against clubs that have been historically low spenders for decades, forcing them to commit to marginal improvements simply to avoid an escalating legal dispute. That is a truly insane position for a professional sports league to be in. Owners are spending money only to avoid getting sued, not to win games or please their fan base. The Dodgers, therefore, are not the problem. They are the catalyst.
They are the Thanos of Major League Baseball, creating the kind of singular, overwhelming threat that drives casual interest and forces internal accountability. Their actions are inadvertently exposing the real culprit in this whole drama, the low-spending owners who are abusing revenue sharing. Baseball's current structure ensures that a significant portion of media rights and gate revenues from large markets flow to smaller markets, essentially subsidizing the low spenders.
Yet, instead of reinvesting that subsidy into competitive talent, these owners pocket it. This is the open loop I promised to close. The worst offender is any team consistently accepting shared money while maintaining a payroll gap of 350% from the top contender. They are the true villains because they damage the competitive integrity while hiding behind a narrative of victimhood. The only way to fix this system is to weaponize the luxury tax, turn it into a true punitive measure, perhaps a 75% tax rate on spending $50 million over the limit, with 100% of that revenue dedicated to subsidizing the salary floor teams, a super soft cap. But more importantly, the hard floor must exist. The Players Union head, Clara Jennings, has made it clear. Our members are tired of being told they are greedy when owners fail to invest even 20% of their actual revenue potential back into the product. The true crisis isn't how much the Dodgers spent, it's how little everyone else is willing to spend, often less than 50% of what they are capable of. The solution is not to stop the Dodgers from trying, but to mandate that everyone else does too.
We should reward ambition, but we must punish apathy. What do you think is the more immediate threat to baseball's long-term health? The Dodgers' record-breaking spending, or the perpetual low-effort spending of teams using revenue sharing as a profit scheme? Let me know in the comments below, and if you found this deep dive valuable, smash that like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to 617 News for more essential sports commentary.